Hello you all, welcome to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, what's good? If you are new, hey boo, I am back with another video. Now, I know y'all wondering what I'm doing out here. I chose to do this video in a special place, and if I'm talking loud, I'm trying to talk over the wind. It was beautiful on the way over here, y'all. I don't know what happened. Like, I'm just hoping that this be a smooth selling video. If there are any cuts and pauses in this video, because this is going to be a long testimony. This is a long overdue testimony. For the ones that's coming in on this channel, I'm just letting you know beforehand that this video may be a trigger warning for you. So if you are sensitive about certain topics like this, then I'm going to suggest that you don't watch it, okay? But if you are here listening, and I appreciate you, okay? For the ones that have been waiting for this testimony, the time is now. I prayed to the Lord for strength this morning for me to tell this testimony. I prayed on the way over here. I talked to the Lord on the way over here as well. The reason why I chose to do this testimony in this setting is because I felt like this was the perfect way to do it, okay? There's kiddies around, but it's like a different playground area, far off, so I don't want to be looking like a weirdo. The kids outside playing, because the weather is beautiful today, and I feel like this would be the perfect time to do this video. I was supposed to be did this video like last year, y'all. I had a special setting for this video that was supposed to be at the playground, but I just felt maybe it just wasn't the perfect timing, and I just needed a little bit more time. I told y'all that I've been using this time to kind of have the Lord strengthen me to get this testimony out. I chose to be outside today, and I chose to be at the playground because I'm going to be releasing my childhood demons today. I'm going to ask the Lord to give me strength and give whoever is on the receiving end of this video strength to get through this testimony, okay? And like I said before, this is going to be trigger warning. I'm going to be sharing a lot of things that is going to be emotional for me, okay? And I'm praying that the Lord give me the strength to not cry, but as y'all already know, if y'all see me shed a tear, then please just excuse that. You know, this is something that has been weighing on my spirit for a very long time. I'm ready to let this go. I'm going to release this secret here on the playground today. I chose to do my video here because this is a way of me reclaiming my childhood. When you go through certain things like molestation, SA, you are robbed of your childhood. And so with that being said, I'm just going to get into the testimony. I was molested as a child, and it started really young. I'm going to kind of take y'all back a little bit. This is going to be a long testimony, so hopefully y'all got the patience to sit with me through this, and we're just going to talk about it. For the ones that's new on my channel, for the ones that's been here, y'all know my grandmother raised me. My mother had a drug addiction, and so she lost custody of me and my brothers and sisters, and so my grandmother took me in at the age of 3, and I was really just sitting back reflecting on everything, because you know, when you start remembering certain things, it's like it's not like in chronological order. So if it seemed like this video is kind of all over the place, I'm just kind of telling my story as I remember it, okay? And so I went to private schooling as a little girl. As far as I can remember, the molestation started when I was younger. I was molested by a close friend of the family. I told y'all in a previous video a long time ago about do not let everyone watch your children, while I shared a bad experience that I had with a babysitter a long time ago. This is why I have never been comfortable going to babysitters and stuff like that, because I had one female babysitter. She physically abused me. She beat me with a belt, okay? And I shared this with y'all in my video a while back. She was beating me so bad with the belt that the buckle of the belt hit my forehead. I still have a scar on my forehead from that. Shortly after that, my grandmother was still having me go to other people's houses to have them watch me, because like I said, my grandmother always was busy. She had doctor's appointments and stuff like that, and so I was always with this person or that person, and it started out with them offering me money to go to the candy store. It was this lady that lived down the street. She had a candy house, and I used to literally go to this candy house every day after school. I remember one time I took 100 pennies to this lady because that's how much I used to love going to the candy store. Like, I did not care. Like, I was gonna find a way to give me some candy and some snacks after school. But I think this person was like kind of watching me a little bit. You know, when you're a child, you're not aware of a lot of things, and so when you get older, things start to make sense to you. But I believe this person was watching me, and it was a lot of times to where I would be by myself. I told you in previous videos I grew up really shy and introverted, and I had friends, but I was kind of like a loner a little bit. I didn't have many friends, and so I think this person saw that as an opportunity to try to groom me. And just thinking back on it, y'all, like, I always been a lonely child. As much as I can remember, just from what I told y'all about my grandmother, I was going through a lot young, and this happened when I was about 6 or 7 years old. I can remember that I was always alone with this person for some reason. Like, it was always a situation to where nobody was ever around, because when I was in school and I would come home a lot of times, my grandmother wouldn't be there. She would have a doctor's appointment. And so I was always the type of kid that I never liked going to other people's houses. I just wanted to be at home. And so whenever I knew that my grandmother had a doctor's appointment, a lot of times I'd just be kind of hard-headed. I wouldn't go to the babysitter's house. I would just go and sit on the porch and wait for her to get home. And so this is how the molestation started. I think this person saw that I was kind of by myself, and they used this opportunity. So I just can't remember that when I would come home from school, I would be sitting on the porch waiting for my grandmother to get home. You know, I had my backpack, my schoolwork and stuff, just taking my schoolwork out, doing my schoolwork on the back porch. When I was in school, I was on the honor roll. Like, my grandmother did not play about my grades. I was that quiet, shy kid. Like I said, I didn't have many friends, so I was always alone a lot. And so this one particular person was always around. You know, that's the one thing I could say. And I just remember one particular day, this person called me over. The reason why I'm kind of pausing and stalling is because I really do honestly believe that this person that molested me, I believe they watched my channel. And so my family does not know that this person molested me. I'm not going to protect this person anymore. I'm just going to come out and say it. So I remember vividly that this particular person told me to come with them. It started out with oh, you want some money for the candy store? Oh, I can give you some money to go to the store. And it escalated to them trying to get me along with them. A lot of the molestation took place up under the back porch. One day they told me to come over with them under the porch. And that's when everything started happening. Nobody was around, and I felt like this person knew that nobody was gonna be able to see what they was doing, because the molestation took place a lot of time. It was kind of like secluded, where nobody could really see what was going on. And so when he got me up under the back porch, this is when he started molesting me. Okay, the one thing I could say I remember vividly about this molestation is that it was this stoop that was up under the back porch, and it was like 3 stairs. Okay, and so he would take me and sit me up on this stoop, and he would okay, so I'm finna show y'all. You know how you see this stoop over here? Because I'm trying to give y'all a vivid picture of what's taking place. I'm sitting up on the stoop of the back porch, and he would rub himself up against me. I remember it so vividly, and it was just like from that point on, it became something that would happen a lot. Like whenever my grandmother wasn't home, he'd have me up under this back porch with him. It was crazy because it was like he kind of knew that my grandmother wouldn't be home, or every time this would happen, it was like nobody would ever be around, and I felt alone. I felt trapped. It was like I wanted somebody to know what was happening to me, but it was like every time he would do this to me, nobody would be around, and I just felt like I was alone. Every time I would be up under this porch with him, I just felt like I was in hell. Like, that place got me so traumatized. Like, whenever you think about certain things, it's like I lost my innocence in my childhood up under this back porch, and that's just something that I would never forget. It just kept happening. It kept happening. It had got to a certain point where I was afraid to go home. Like, we used to get out of school every day. And so let me just backtrack. So I was in private school, and then my grandmother transferred me to public school. The molestation was going on through that whole time. And so when I started going to public school, my school was like literally on the next block. And we used to get out of school at 1:30 every day. And every time that bell would ring, I would just feel so much dread. Like, I did not want to go home, y'all. It started getting to the point where I was afraid to go home. And I wanted to tell my grandmother. It was just like, I instantly became afraid, because it was like when it was happening to me, I didn't feel comfortable. I felt afraid to tell my grandmother, because me and my grandmother was just kind of like, we didn't really have the best relationship. And I told y'all my grandmother raised me, but she was really strict. She was mean. I was always getting in trouble for stuff, and I think that's another reason why this person saw me as a target, because he seen that I was being neglected, basically. Like, I don't mean to bring this up, but this was the reason why I made the video about saying that your child is being molested. I said that when you are neglectful to your kids and you don't show them that much love and attention, it's like people see that. And I think that's why this person chose to molest me, because he seen me as an easy target. Because my grandmother was mistreating me. She was being mean to me, y'all. Like, when I say I went through a lot as a child, I really do mean that. Like, I really felt like my grandmother didn't really, like, she cared for me. She did whatever she could, but I just didn't feel that love from her. I felt like my grandmother had something against me. I don't know. My grandmother just always been a strict kind of woman, a mean woman. And
I really honestly felt like my grandmother didn't want me. Like, she didn't want me living with her. I just felt like she only took me in because that's what she felt like she needed to do, because I was her grandchild. But it was like I never felt no love and affection from my grandmother, and I felt like this person see that it's a way to abuse me, because I wasn't getting that much love and attention. And when they started molesting me, it was just like I didn't want to tell my grandmother, because it was like I was always getting in trouble for stuff for no reason. Like I told y'all that when I grew up, I was just shy. I was introverted. Like, it was just like when this molestation started, my grades started to suffer. I became a complete and total mute, and I didn't feel comfortable telling my grandmother about this, because I just felt like this was going to be another excuse for her to... My grandmother used to whoop me a lot, yeah. Like, I used to get a lot of whoopings, and a lot of times I felt like she just, she was just angry. It was just something my grandmother had against me, to where she would just always be mad at me for no reason. And I never knew what I did to her to make her just dislike me the way she did. And I didn't want to tell her that I was being molested, because I felt like she would have been upset with me, mad at me. I felt like maybe she wouldn't have believed me, and I was just going through a lot. Like, not only was I felt like I was being mistreated at home, I was being bullied at school, because I was so shy and quiet, and nobody knew what was wrong with me. But it was just like when this molestation started, it made me a complete and total mute. Like, the kids thought it was something wrong with me. They thought I was weird, but I was just really going through a lot, and I was really just afraid to go home, because it would just always seem like he'd just be waiting for me. Like, it wasn't happening every day, but it was happening often, and it got so bad, y'all, to the point where whenever I would ask my grandmother, like, if she had doctor's appointments. Like, it was like she always had some... She was at home, but she always had doctor's appointments, because my grandmother, she had rheumatoid arthritis, so she was always having to go to doctor's appointments, or she would just be out taking care of business, grocery shopping. It was getting so bad to the point where whenever I knew she had the doctor's appointment... Okay, so I grew up in a big house, and we had a backyard in the front yard, and so my grandmother was so strict and mean. She never wanted nobody in her living room. Like, nobody could even barely come to the front door. That's just how she was. But it was like whenever she had a doctor's appointment, I would unlock the front door that night. It was like clockwork for me. Like, I would either wait till she went to sleep, or just something so where she was busy, because like I said, my grandmother did not like for us to... It was like nobody ever really came to the house like that. And so it was like, if I leave the front door unlocked, she not gonna notice that it's unlocked, because don't nobody really come over like that, and she don't barely go out the front door. She would barely even go in the living room herself sometimes. And so it was like that living room. And so this is another part I forgot to add, y'all, but she had ended up finding out that I was leaving the front door unlocked, and so she started locking it back. It looked like I was the problem child, like I was always being disobedient, because I was supposed to be with the babysitter, okay? And I was always trying to avoid this person. So even though I wasn't supposed to be at home, I would be at home waiting for her to get home. And she wasn't picking up on the cues. From the outside looking in, it looked as if I was being a disobedient child. Well, really, I was just trying to protect myself from this person. And it had got to a point to where she had a tall gate built, because it was this small gate that I used to come in and out of every day after school. And so the way to keep me out was she had that tall gate built, and she also had locks put on the gate so no one can get in the backyard. She had a tall gate by the alleyway, by the garage, and over by the house.
it was so bad, y'all, to the point where I wanted to avoid this person as much as possible. So I was hopping over banisters and gates and just anything to try to get into the house to where I couldn't be seen by this person. That's how bad it was getting. I was literally trying to just protect myself, but at the same time trying not to get in trouble by my grandmother.
No access for nobody. And so I just felt like I could just, if I just left the front door unlocked, I can get in the house after school, because it was getting so bad to the point where it was like I didn't want this person seeing me or nothing. Like when I say every day after school at 1:30 when that bell would ring, I'd be stalling trying to go home. Like I would literally be out like dragging my feet to walk home, because I already knew what was gonna happen. Like it was something that was just becoming routine. I got tired of it. I was just trying to do everything I could. It was just so crazy, y'all, because it was like when I was a child, like I said, I felt like I grew up early. Like even though my grandmother did what she could and she took care of me, it was just like I felt like I was alone. Like I felt like I had to protect myself from what was happening to me, because I just did not feel safe at all. And so whenever I would leave the front door open, I could get in the house after school and I didn't have to deal with this person. Because remember, like I told y'all, like I used to sit on the porch and wait for her to get home, and then it had just got to a certain point to where I didn't even feel comfortable doing that no more. Like, and I remember one particular time I was so scared, y'all. I unlocked the front door, and then when I got home after school, I remember this vividly like it was yesterday. I was trying to sneak home. Like I didn't want this person to see me, and I would literally be creeping up on the front porch to try to get in. Even though my grandmother took care of me, that was the house I grew up in, but I didn't feel at home being there. I remember one particular day, I was so scared, like even though I was able to get in the house and I was safe, I still felt afraid. I remember like yesterday, I came in through the front door and I locked it, and so I was so afraid of this person. I was so afraid of this person, to the point where I went, it was like, okay, so it's the living room, the front door, the dining room, and then the kitchen. That's how the house was set up. And so, when I got in the house, I was so afraid. I went and hid up under the dining room table. I was so afraid of this person. Like, I felt like they was gonna come looking for me or something. Like, because it was crazy. Because like I said, every time I would get out of school, this became something that was like really, it was happening so much to the point to where it was like this person was kind of looking forward to it every time. And it was just like I was trying to block this person. I was trying to get away from this person. I was trying to protect myself, because it was like it was happening so much, y'all. It was like nobody cared. Nobody knew nothing. Nobody knew nothing. It was like every time he would do this to me, nobody would be around, and it would just be like out in the open in broad daylight. But it was kind of like ducked off in a secret place. I felt like I was in hell whenever I would be with this person, and they would do whatever they was doing to me. Like, this person took advantage of me, and I was so shy and quiet. Like, they made me so afraid. It was just like I was already shy, and this thing just made me complete mute. I was afraid. I was afraid of this person, because of how close they was to the family. It was just like it was happening to me. I had no protection at all. It was a couple of times to where when it would happen, I was just hoping that somebody would just walk past and catch him, and nobody ever would walk past. It was just like I was with the devil. Like, it was the worst. It was the worst. I felt so afraid, y'all. Like, and that's when I started when I got tired of it, it was just like that's when I started leaving the front door unlocked so I could get in the house after school. And it was just like this every day after school, yeah. Whenever that bell would ring, I would be dragging my feet to go home, trying to find different shortcuts to get home because I didn't want them to see me. And I wanted to tell my grandmother so bad, but it was so much stuff going on, like even with me and her. It was just like I was always, nothing that I ever did was right. And I feel like if I would have told her this, it would have been my fault for some reason. Like, I was afraid to tell anybody. Like, I most definitely didn't want to tell nobody else because he was just so close to the family. And I didn't want to get him in trouble, but I was getting tired of him molesting me. It was happening so much, y'all, like literally. It was really hurting me. My grades started suffering in school, and I was just going through a lot. Yeah, I was being picked on and bullied by teachers and students at school. Like, they didn't even know what I was going through. I was going through a lot, you know. And it started getting so bad to the point where, like, and sometimes when the molestation would take place, she would be home, and it was like he knew her every move, he knew about it. And that's how he knew that he had the opportunity to touch me, because my grandmother was either not paying attention or she was gone. And plenty of times, like, every time after it would happen, I would feel so dirty, disgusting. When it first started happening, I was so confused. Like, I was like, he was being nice to me at first, and now he hurt me. And I can't tell nobody because I've been getting in trouble. It was a lot going on, y'all. Like, I was going through a lot. Every time after what happened, I just remember always going to the bathroom and cleaning myself. I just be in the bathroom, on the bathroom floor, just crying, like, just feeling like I was alone and I had nobody. I just remember always just going to the bathroom. Every time after what happened, and just cleaning myself. I felt disgusting, like, I felt so ashamed. I felt dirty. Like, I was a young girl, and I just felt like I grew up too fast. He was taking advantage of me out in so many ways. It was like plenty of times to where, you know, every time after it would happen, I go to the bathroom and clean myself. I just remember being in the bathroom just crying, like, I was cleaning myself. And I remember a couple of times my grandmother yelled and said, she would always call my name, but I thought she was calling my name because she heard me crying. And so I was so afraid and ashamed. Like, whenever she called my name, I would just, like, be quiet right away. Like, I didn't want her to know that I was crying because I didn't want her to ask me what was wrong. But at the same token time, it was like I didn't feel protected at all. It was just like so many things was happening to me and nobody cared. Nobody cared. This man was hurting me. And it was a lot going on, y'all. He didn't take my virginity or nothing like that, but he was just like rub himself up against me. Like, at first it started, you know, I just had on my underwear, but then it was bad, y'all. Like, it just went from that and it just started to escalate to more things. And it was just like my childhood was just erased. Like, I feel so alone, you know. It was like before I got it was happening. I remember that it stopped. He stopped molesting me like before I got my period. I remember like he was taking advantage of me. Yeah.
This was another reason why I was really embarrassed about the situation, because when he started molesting me, he was grown at the time. And so his connection with my family is what scared me the most, because I didn't know how my family was gonna take that.
Like, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this, it was something that transpired that brought all these memories back to me, and all the stuff that I thought I had forgot, it just came back. So it just hit me like a ton of bricks, y'all. Like, I tried to forget this, but it just hit me out of left field. You know, I didn't understand why I was getting all these thoughts and emotions like this. It hit just like the memories just hit me like a wave. I was trying to block out and forget. They just kept coming and coming and coming. I remember this, I remember that, I remember where I was, I remember what he was doing to me, I remember like where I was, I remember what was going on, I remember what time it was, I remember just always just whenever he was doing this to me, I was just always just hoping and praying that my grandmother would come home, you know, because I just wanted it to stop. Like, but I just basically wanted to if I feel like I'm talking in circles, y'all, it's just like I'm just trying to get everything out as much as I can remember. But I lost a great deal of my childhood due to the molestation and just other stuff that was taking place in my life, y'all. Like I told y'all, like, my mother didn't raise me, you know, she was a drug addict, and so it was just like, just with that too, I was just feeling like that child, it just was not wanted by nobody. I felt alone. I felt so alone. I felt like I had nobody, you know, and that's what made me a secluded, introverted person, to be quite honest. Like, well, I never really had many friends coming up, and just, you know, just going through what I went through in school with the bullying and stuff like that, it was just like, it just made me a real closed off person. And it didn't take me coming into my adults to realize that a lot of my seclusion and it came from me being molested as a child. These childhood memories was haunting me. Like, it felt like these demons was attacking me. You know, I was opened up to things at a young age, and it was like something had took over me, y'all. At certain times, I felt like I wasn't a child because of what was happening to me. It was crazy. I literally felt like a demon took over me. Like, whenever he was doing what he was doing to me, I felt like I was with the devil. Like, I literally did. Like, I felt like I was in hell with Satan, and nobody was there to protect me and help me. Like, I would cry. I would just hope and pray that somebody would just catch him, and nobody ever would catch him. It just got to a certain point to where I was just like, I gotta say something. Like, I'm not gonna keep letting this person torment me like this. I want to be free. Like, I want to be healed. I wanted to tell my testimony and my story for the ones. It's just like, if you ever holding on to a secret like this and you just felt like you had no one, you just felt unloved and not protected, and you never fully understand, like, molestation, it kind of shapes and molds you, you know. Your molestation has a lot to do with how your adult life play out, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. When you choose to confront your childhood demons and, you know, your trauma, depending on what you can remember, you know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, sometimes we try to forget things, but when something has been ingrained and implanted in your mind, it just doesn't go away. It was just like those tormenting feelings that I was feeling as a child. They just came back, you know, everything that I was trying to push off and just buried. It was coming back at me. It was like I was being faced with my little girl self over again. You know, she was broken, she was hurt, unhealed, and all type of stuff. Like, it was just like she was just crying out to me. It was like, for the ones that understand, they understand. Like, I was being tormented with so much, y'all. Not just with my childhood self, but these demons that this person put on me. Because that's what molestation does. It shapes and molds your man. Molestation is a demonic act. And I really literally felt like it was a being taking advantage of me. It was like I didn't see the person. I seen the spirit. You know, this was something that I experienced as a child that I would never forget. Like, when he was molesting me, it was very much spiritual. It was like kind of like an outer body experience. It's hard to explain, but it was something that I would not wish on nobody, no child. It was something that I knew I needed to confront. For the ones that's listening in on this channel, and they probably asking like, girl, why would you come and reveal this to people on the internet, people that you don't know? Like, why didn't you just go get some therapy? I'm getting therapy. Okay, behind this, my therapist knows about what happened to me. But like I said, I feel like coming and talking about this is part of my purpose, okay? It's so many people out here that have been molested as children that are still holding on, repressing so many things from their childhood. And so I wanted to use my platform in a way to be open and vulnerable, and also in a way to help people get their strength. You know, you gain a lot of strength through telling your testimony. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm on here being open and vulnerable with y'all. I'm crying, but I feel strength behind sharing my story. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving someone else the opportunity to find strength and courage enough to tell their story and speak out against SA. Okay, molestation, that's a demonic act. This is not a secret that you should keep to yourself. You know, it's a lot of adults out here, like I said, it's people that have went to their grave with something like this. Okay, when you repress so many things and you keep things inside, it destroys you internally. And this was something that I said that I no longer wanted to have a part of my life. When I was being molested as a child, I did notice that because I was open sexually. I didn't understand why I was doing it, but I just knew that it wasn't normal for me to be doing it as a child. You know, I ain't never, now let me just say this, I ain't never touched nobody else. I ain't never touched no other child or nothing like that, but it was just, for the ones that get it, they get it. When you are open in that type of way, it's a spiritual exchange. You know what I'm saying? What took place was demonic. And so when you encounter that kind of thing, you are taking on this person's demons. That's why I say I come and talk about celibacy. I come and talk about sex. I talk about it in the deep in depths because sex is a spiritual act. And so depending on what form it's coming in, it's an energy exchange. So if you have been molested as a child and a person did things like this to you, you have took on their demons, okay? And I know a lot of people don't want to hear it like this. They don't want to believe it. But you have to free yourself from these demons, okay? And you are going to be able to do that by confronting the situation, facing it. Like I said, this is something that I was ashamed and embarrassed about. I would never think that in all my years I would be telling nobody this, let alone on a public platform. But this is my way of helping other people. Just giving people the courage and the strength to tell their truth. It's a lot of people that are holding on to childhood demons, you know. Your childhood self is looking to be healed, and I hope that by me sharing my testimony, I could just help other people. But this was just one memory that I just tried to forget, but I knew I needed to confront this at some point or it was going to destroy me. If you are the type of person that experienced SA, it might have made you guarded with a lot of people, not wanting to open it up to people, having trust issues, you know, in your romantic relationships with friends. You know, this thing affects your life in such a way that if you don't confront it, then it's gonna kind of destroy your life little by little. You know, it's okay to accept the fact that this is what happens to you, and this is the hardest part of facing your childhood trauma and getting that healing and that strength, is recognizing that this is what happened to you. This is where it took place. This is the person that did this. A lot of times people don't want to even face that. They don't even want to face the fact that this is what happened to them, because they feel ashamed. They feel embarrassed. They feel like I said, that no one would believe them. They feel, it's just so many conflicting feelings carrying a secret like this. It's okay to accept the fact that this was a part of your childhood, and you need to know that it was not your fault. Okay? It was not your fault. You were not a willing participant in this. You were a child, you know? And so it took me a long time to understand that what happened to me, it ended up becoming part of my purpose and what it was that the Lord wanted me to do, you know? Because sometimes y'all understand, like I said in the beginning of the video, I felt like I had nobody and that I was alone. The Lord has a weird way of showing up in your life, you know. Even when it comes to your tough times, the trying times in your life, He will show up in a way to where He will let you know that He is real. You may be the type of person that feel like you always going through something. It's something that's always happening to you. You know what I'm saying? You are the type of person that, and that's how I felt when I was a child. Like when I was going through certain things, I was just always saying, why me, Lord? You know, why me? Why is it always me? Why is it always something happening to me? Like I told y'all, I was quiet, I was introverted, I was never the problem child, but I was always the problem child, so to speak. Like I was always picked on by people, just people giving me just rude energy. Even as a child, I dealt with stuff like this, you know, and I thank God for giving me the strength to deal with it. You know, I'm a stronger woman now. It definitely built me into a stronger person coming into my adulthood, but I had to come to an understanding that everything has purpose and everything happens for a reason, you know. That happened to me because I needed to talk about it. You know, I needed to give other people the strength and the courage. It wasn't fair what happened to me, and it was a horrendous moment. Days to where I'm going through it, child. Like I'm being tormented some days, I feel like. And whenever I would talk to the Lord, I always found myself feeling better about the situation, you know. Going to get therapy, that is important. You know, I really do feel like people that have been through molestation, SA, you know, whatever sort of child abuse, you do need therapy behind that. You know, I not only went through child molestation, I went through child abuse. You know, I went through a lot of things as a child, and so that's something that I'm still dealing with today. I'm getting the healing and the strength with it. But all in all, I want to be able to use my platform to be an advocate for the survivors of SA, and this is why I chose to come and tell my testimony. I already know that my video is not going to be for everybody. I already know that it's going to be probably certain people that's going to come and be like, oh, that's an overshare, you shouldn't be telling all that your business to other people. You don't know us, we complete strangers. Okay, a therapist is a complete stranger too. You don't know this person personally, but you open it up and telling them certain things. You know what I'm saying? I feel comfortable coming to my platform telling you guys. I don't know you guys, but I feel comfortable coming to tell you guys because it is a purpose behind it. I want to be able to help in any way that I can. You know what I'm saying? I want the people on the receiving end of this video to know that God is real. You know, the Lord has gotten me through so much with this situation. And it's still getting me through it. All of us have our days. But if it was not for me having a relationship with the Lord, trust, I would not be up on here like this. I would be so broken. I would be so, and for the ones that's up on my channel, because everybody don't have a strong relationship with the Lord. Everybody don't have a relationship with the Lord at all. And this is not me coming to shame nobody, but the Lord has always been a big part of my life for a reason. Like when I say I come on my channel and I talk about my relationship with the Lord, I literally don't cap about Him, because He was there in times where I needed Him. He was there for me because He was the only one that I felt like I had.
in a time where I was feeling alone. Like, I even felt like the Lord was with me when I was a child. I always felt like I had a spiritual gift since I was a child. And so I just always felt like the Lord was just protecting me all the time, because like I said, I was going through so much. These people looking at me crazy, yeah. When the Lord is flowing, you don't care who around. I don't care who watching, okay? I'm focused on the message. But the Lord has been a big part of my life for an extremely long time, and I wanted to come and share my testimony with y'all to let y'all know that there's strength behind your pain. You deserve your healing. You deserve to tell your truth. You don't need to be a prisoner of your silence, because when I was molested, it placed shackles of silence on me. This molestation put a blockage on my life in so many different ways that I didn't even realize until I started getting older. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, when you get older, you get wiser. You understand, you look at life differently. Life is a learning process. You learn so many things along the way. You understand yourself better. You understand your emotions. So triggers, all of that. You know how to maneuver better, especially when you have a relationship with the Lord. It's just kind of like you are not going to be able to fully understand another person's relationship with the Lord, because it's a personal one. You know what I'm saying? So my relationship with Christ is a personal one for me because of things that I have been through in my life. This is not the only testimony that I have for you guys. I have been through a lot, and I told y'all that. That's why I come on here and I show up and I show out for myself to kind of let y'all know that it's God all the way behind my channel, all the way through and through. You know, and I come on here and I talk about a little bit of everything, okay? I'm not perfect. I still got things to learn being on this walk with Christ. Nobody is perfect. I'm still coming on here and I'm being myself at the end of the day. But I just feel like I'm sharing this story with y'all and being on the playground, just, you know, the whole setting. I just feel like I'm sitting with my friends on the playground and we just talking. If I had the opportunity to just be with y'all in person, like my real true supporters and whoever that may be looking in on this video, if you could just be here with me right now and we just sit on the playground together having this discussion like this, it feels better for me to come and talk to y'all like this. This testimony needed to be here. It is just so crazy because I had meant to do this video last year in the summertime, okay? But it wasn't the right timing. You know, this was the right timing, okay? It's quiet, you know, it's not too many things going on. The weather is beautiful, and the Lord needed to give me just a little bit more strength to get out here and talk to y'all like this. I feel like a kid all over again. I feel like my childhood self is healed in a way. You know, for the ones that get it, they get it. Especially if you are getting therapy. Your relationship with the Lord, in my opinion, is the number one step to healing your childhood trauma, okay? The Lord first, and then a therapist. Even when it comes to getting therapy, you got to be choosy with that too. When it comes to talking about your childhood trauma, even when it comes to choosing a therapist, you got to be choosy with that, because what is this therapist's spiritual beliefs? Okay, that's the one big factor for me. I want to know what your spiritual beliefs are, because if I come and talk to you about my trauma and I'm telling you about my belief in the Lord, what if you go to a therapist and this therapist don't have a belief in Christ? They're not going to be able to help you. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to vet every single person in your life. People that you do services with, business with, all that type of stuff. Everybody you have to discern. People automatically think therapist, a therapist is going to be able to fix it all. But therapy is not going to be able to fix it all. The Lord is the only person that's going to be able to fix it all at the end of the day, because a therapist is a human. Okay? They normal just like you. They got feelings just like you. They got trauma just like you. The way that I see it is, like I said, it's nothing wrong with getting therapy. I'm getting therapy. But the Lord is going to be able to give you a certain kind of strength that supersedes anything that a therapist can give you. Okay? Then that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Now, if this therapist got the same belief as you, then that's the instant connect right there, because y'all able to bounce stuff off of each other. You vabbing this person, they vabbing you, and you really feel like they can help you because y'all get each other, okay? They got a faith and belief in Christ, then they are the perfect therapist for you. But when it comes to addressing your childhood trauma, it's literally something that takes strength. I was in the tub this morning, y'all, and I was literally just sitting there just having a quiet one-on-one moment with the Lord. I was like, Lord, please give me the strength to carry this message today and let it be for whoever it needs to be for. Please let the people that are on the receiving end of this video be able to get some sort of healing and strength and a peace of mind. You know, this video, me coming and telling my testimony, hopefully it grants you a peace of mind as well, because it's just like when you address your childhood trauma and when you tell your truth, you are giving yourself a peace of mind. Okay, you are at peace with the situation in a way too, because you are freeing yourself in a way. Okay, and so that's just basically what I wanted to come and share with y'all. For the ones that's going through this and they really just having their days where it's really getting to you, I just want to say, the Lord is with you. The Lord is your best friend. The Lord is your confidant. He is there. It had got to a certain point in my life to where he was always there, because I know there's people that's on the receiving end of this video that may not have a relationship with the Lord. They might have been through something similar like this and they feel like the Lord wasn't real because this happened to them. Everything happens for a reason.